All right, we're going to solve this power equation that has a rational exponent. There are a couple different ways of doing this, but what I'm going to do is first write this in radical form. And what I'm going to do is that this 4 in the numerator is going to be the power, and this denominator is going to be the index of a radical. I can write these really in any order I want, but let me show you what I'm going to do with that. So let me get there. Get all set up, and then here is what the those two things are going to do. So this 3 is the index, so this is a cube root is what I'm going to put on here, so that's my index of 3, and then I'm going to raise all of this to the 4th power. Again, I could actually put this exponent of 4 on the inside. It won't really affect anything. Okay. Now, what I'm going to have to do, and we've had previous experiences in algebra with dealing with things that have powers or radicals, but this is probably the first time we've seen both a power and a radical, and it can kind of blow your mind a little bit. But here is what I'm going to do. My first thing I'm going to do is apply a 4th root. I need to do the opposite of what I see here first, and so I'm going to apply the 4th root to everything here on the left-hand side, and then also here on the right-hand side. Again, I apply the 4th root because the 4th root cancels out the power of 4. And so when I do that, what I'm going to get is I'll be left with the cube root of 5x plus 3. Over here, the 4th root of 250, using my calculator, is 4. Importantly, though, since I used an even radical here, this is very similar to a square root. So just on a side note, if I have x squared equals 16 and I apply a square root to this, when I do that, I get x equals 4, but then also negative 4. So don't forget about this plus minus thing. This comes into play anytime you use a radical that has an even index. And we know that the square root actually has an index of 2 here. So since that's even, we get the plus minus. I'm using a 4th root over here. I get a plus minus. All right, so now tackle this. These are 2 different equations now. I'm going to get 2 different answers. My 2 equations are the 3rd root of 5x plus 3 equals 4, or also the cube root of 5x plus 3 equals negative 4. And I solve these in both cases. I'm just going to raise both sides to the 3rd power. So I raise this to the 3rd power, and I get 5x plus 3. And 4 to the 3rd power is 64. And then subtract 3. It's all pretty easy from here. Divide by 5. That's what I get. And then on the same side, other side, I'm going to raise both sides to the 3rd power. Again, I'm not taking the cube root. I'm doing the opposite of what's happening over here. And so I'm raising to the 3rd power. That gets rid of that radical. And then negative 4 to the 3rd power is negative 64. And then I get 5x equals negative 67. And finally, x equals negative 67 over 5. Those are my 2 answers. And again, the reason I have 2 answers is because I had to at some point get rid of this power of 4 by taking the 4th root. Whenever I apply the 4th root or any even root to an equation, I get this plus and minus, which will give me 2 separate answers.